Welcome to the Hollywood Outsider, an award-winning weekly entertainment podcast. In this very episode, we're going to go off script a bit and look at many of the things we just wish Hollywood would stop doing. Could be story issues, casting, cliches, awards, whatever it is. This episode is simply titled, Hollywood, Let's Just Stop. Now, let's go finish that sentence. My name is Aaron Peterson. Joining me today, I'm my fellow host, John Davenport, not here. Amanda Sink, not here. Troy Heinrichs, are you here?
I mean, I have to be, I guess, right? Otherwise, it wouldn't be a show.
Somebody's got to show up, and we got a pinch hitter coming in. Please don't declare anything because apparently that's a thing with baseball players right now, Brian. But Brian Williams is coming back from the whole past.
I am virtually running in from the bullpen like Charlie Sheen in Major League.
Nice.
To that Wild Thing music. So.
Well, hopefully you won't end up with AIDS by the time this is over. So, are you guys... Is that wrong? I don't know. That's probably too far.
Wouldn't be the first thing I caught through a podcast, but...
I mean, Charlie Sheen is in Hollywood, right? Charlie Sheen, just stop.
Yeah, let's just stop hiring out. Let's just stop hiring him. Hey, we should say next week we are going to Batman Up. It's an episode dedicated to the Dark Knight, the new Batman, the emo My Chemical Romance, Fall Out Boy haircut wearing Robert Pattinson Batman. And reviews just came out and they're pretty stellar. So it's not getting Zack Snydered.
Yay!
Nobody seems excited. I'm excited. I think this is cool.
I'm just trying to figure out when to get a ticket to go. That's my problem because
as soon as possible. That's fine.
My kid made state for basketball, and so we're doing basketball all weekend. So I'm like, when am I going to see this movie before we record next week?
Thursday night. Go Thursday night.
Yeah, those are sold out.
No, they're not. They're not sold out yet. They added so many showings. There's 2 people in the theater I'm going to. 2.
I'm not driving an hour to your theater to see the show. I'm going to see it at my theater where it shakes my ass when I sit down.
So you don't feel like it's worth the trip to come hang out with me for 3.5 hours, however long this damn thing is?
Plus the hour there, plus the hour back. That's a lot of time devoted to you.
Yeah.
That's a quarter of the day dedicated for Aaron.
I mean, Brian might even be able to get there faster, and he'd have to fly to get there. That's what I'm saying.
Well, Brian, I definitely want to say thanks. Brian is literally calling in last second. Amanda was going to be here, but she had something happen.
30 minutes past the last second.
Came in with less than a half an hour's notice. So we really appreciate it. Even if, he of course is going to use the microphone. It's going to irritate the hell out of me when I edit this, but I appreciate you showing up anyway. You know how anal I am.
Well, I know whenever basically, I know whenever you politely say something like, hey, if you want to do this, that's code for, man, we need some help.
Yeah.
You telling me he actually says that in polite status?
To Brian.
I haven't heard that in 10 years.
I have my sensitive moments now and then. He's got a tiptoe now and then. So he just doesn't know when. So he just tiptoes all the time. So
that is so factually accurate.
No, it's my pleasure to be here. It's good to be back with you guys.
Yeah, you haven't been here in a while. Santa Claus, but that was kind of rehashing old stuff. So I don't remember when the last time you were on the show.
The 10-year probably?
Nah, it's about every 6 to 9 months.
Yeah. It is. And Brian is our resident cruise director, by the way. He's a travel agent now, and he's the one that put together the whole cruise for 2023. So if you're interested in that, we'll talk about it a little bit more later.
Yeah.
We'll come back to it for sure and plug it a little bit.
It's the only reason he's here tonight. He had to get his, one hosting duty qualified before the cruise show.
That's how you get the discount.
Right. That's right.
Well, guess what? This whole show is one topic, which is great, Brian, because you had to do literally no prep. You can just name 3 things that piss you off about Hollywood, and I think you got this covered.
Awesome. Minimum effort. Isn't that Deadpool's thing? Minimum effort?
No, yeah. If you're dyslexic, it is. Yes.
Yeah, is that what it is? Okay.
Our podcast topic is simple. Hollywood, let's just stop. Now, you could insert your own conclusion to that statement, like, Hollywood, let's just stop acting like you never really enjoy making out with your co-stars. We know that's bullshit. Some of you do. Let's just stop. But it could be cliches, story points, actors, ideas, cutting out awards that might be important to an award show. Whatever it is.
Spoiler alert.
What do you think Hollywood and entertainment should just stop doing? Now, we each got to come up with 3. Brian, I'm sure you can wing it. You'll come up with something. If not, go scroll down and pull a listener's comment and use it for yourself. That's fine, too.
I'm sure he can probably make it up because you and I will talk forever so Brian will have plenty of time in order to come up with something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'll go third, and
that's fine. We'll start with Troy, and then we do have a lot from listeners. And the reason why we're just going to make this the whole show this week is because next week's Batman. We've got a film festival coming up. We just wanted to do something fun and relaxed for an episode. So Troy, you start. What's the first Hollywood Let's Just Stop? And then we're going to talk about it.
Well, I'm sure this one won't surprise anybody listening to the podcast, but Hollywood Let's Just Stop having 22 episode series of network television. No one needs it. No one wants it. Maybe the people working on the show want it, but nobody that watches it wants it. We want basically a good, solid, cohesive story. Cable has proven that the 13 episode model works. Streaming has proven that the 6 to 10 episode model works. The only one that doesn't work is 22. It's why the ratings after the winter break specifically drop significantly from what they are in the fall, because people are like into the TV mode. They're like, yeah, 9 episodes, boom, 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 boom. And then they forget about the show, and then nobody comes back in February after the Olympics. So let's just stop with 22 and let's make more content so we can have 800 shows on TV at the same time.
Jesus, man. I don't need more shows. Even if you cut them down to 10 episodes, I don't need more shows. I just, no.
We still got to fill the time. I mean, they got to make the money.
I get that. But how much of that is really just your time? Like, you don't have the time for 22 episodes.
It's my time. It's my time down here.
So Troy's going to do the Goonie version of this. And he's like, I don't want this no more.
Hey, it's my name on the damn bucket. Okay.
That's true.
So shut it.
That's true. That's your name on the bozo bucket. I agree though. I don't really know anybody that needs that anymore. I mean, Grey's Anatomy, how many episodes? I mean, I know it's been on like 19 years, but how many episodes is that then?
I mean, they used to do extra episodes. They used to do 24 for Grey's Anatomy. I don't know if they still do or not, but
why are they in real time?
For a long time. It must be.
What's the point? I don't understand. What's the point?
Full surgeries happen like literally every minute.
That's stupid. I don't.
They do silent countdowns when they die.
To your point, back in the day when there was, you had cable that really wasn't much of the. It had a few shows, generally speaking, across 25, 50 other channels. You really, most of your shows were still on network TV. And so they had, the quantity of shows wasn't there. Well, now there's so many different avenues to keep one person's attention. Man, people just can't hang for 22, 24, 26 episodes a season anymore.
And they sure can't remember whatever the storyline was. I can't tell you what was happening. Oh, yeah, that was the season where... Exactly. That's where I just totally fade out from whatever the story is for that particular season. I can't tell you the last network show I enjoyed watching. And yeah, I mean enjoyed. Podcasts or not, I just don't enjoy 22 episodes of anything. Just so much TV. So much TV. Well, my first one is Hollywood. Let's just stop cutting categories out of the Oscars just because you don't think it's jazzy enough. If you can have those stupid musical numbers, I think you can award the people who did the real work, the ones that actually made the movies happen. It's supposed to be an award for the entire technical achievement, not just whoever's going to be garnering your ratings, which doesn't seem to be doing it anyway. So reward the people that are actually doing the work. And, I had a stunt category.
Now, I'm going to play devil's advocate. I can understand.
Nope. I had to accept your 22 thing. You have to accept my Oscar thing. And then we move on. That's how this works.
I accept I accept that we need a stunt category. Yes. But I mean, at the end of the day, they are trying to produce a television show. So if the television show isn't drawing in the viewers and the ratings are dropping, the television show has the right to adjust what it shows as part of the show. They didn't cut out the categories. They just decided not to air it. The categories still happened just in the pre-show that wasn't on TV, right? That's the way I understood it was going to happen.
I mean, the way that they're supposed to be doing them is that they're actually going to present them earlier in the night before the show actually starts. So no viewer is going to see it. And then what they're going to do is they're going to, apparently now, because they got so much flack about it, they're going to actually intercut the winners into the ceremony. So at that point, then just have them as part of the ceremony. Well, it'll be whittled down and everything else. Great. So they get shortchanged. I mean, just like everything about this is just insulting to the people that work on the movie and get the movie made. It isn't all just the pretty faces to get this done. That's all I'm saying.
No, it should still be part of the evening.
Well, it might be
one Oscar evening.
They're knowingly cutting things out specifically of the actual award show, and it's the Oscars. I mean, I don't watch it just so I can see somebody's freaking hair or their dress. I don't care about any of that. Most of the people that are watching it,
you are in the very, very small minority with that, though.
Do you think that? Do you think so? Because everybody I talk to about the Oscars, man, they want to see the awards.
How many pre-Oscar fashion shows do you see? There's no pre-Oscar CGI artist.
There should be,
shows.
Cartoons running around.
There's no production designer, special channel for people to watch.
I want to watch somebody on the E channel go through and scrub Adobe Premiere for like a half an hour.
Yeah. Oh, look at here. Here's Barry Wigglebottom, the best grip of the head grip of Avengers Endgame.
It's a very uncomfortable.
Nobody wants to see that.
Just him holding stuff with a tight grip.
Right.
Look, okay, fine.
Here's the lighting technician.
They cut out film editing. That is like one of the most important components to making a movie is film editing. And they're cutting that category out from the live broadcast. It's just like original score is one that got cut out. Production design. The things that make the movie are what they're cutting out in lieu of, we'll just have best picture, best actor, best actress. And it's still going to be 3 hours long because they're going to go ahead and do extra crap that nobody wants to see.
Well, I've got a beef. We can continue with yours, but I've got a beef
we can
that
segue to
will
yours.
Play with yours, and it will help your beef. Get corrected.
Okay, get corrected. Thank you. All right.
So, all right. Well, hey, how about stay the hell out of politics, Hollywood? I don't care about your beliefs, your positions on stuff. There has never been a thing where somebody gave a speech at an Oscars that changed my mind on any subject. None at all.
Never?
I respect that they have never. Nobody has ever changed my mind on a topic just because they accepted an award and said whatever about whatever situation or. So I either really agreed with them or I really didn't. Or I was just like, I don't really care where you're at.
So yours is specifically to stop doing the award show politics, or are you saying
in general
politics in general? Like, don't even make a TV show about it.
Politics in general, but that works in there. But that works in there because if they
just dribble,
if they're doing less political speeches at an award ceremony, then we can get his lighting directors and dolly boys or whatever they're called. We can get them properly recognized and squeeze them in there so we can keep these speeches to about maybe a minute each.
I do think they should play people off when they start getting political because I agree. I don't need to hear your speech. There are exceptions though. Michael Keaton won for Dope Sick during the SAG Awards, and he gave a really, really sweet speech about how sometimes art can bring light to an issue, and he lost his nephew to drug addiction, and that's why this was so important to him.
That's the movie that's bringing light to it, and that's completely different.
Okay, you're talking about keep your personal. If it doesn't have anything to do with the movie, keep it out of there. Is that what you're saying?
Keep the people's personal politics out of my mainstream, and that includes Oscar speeches or Golden Globe speeches. Because I don't care about. I don't pay my ticket and help pad your $20 million movie price, your movie salary because of your politics. Politics is one of the, that's one of those few things that you in our society you don't bring up because it's so divisive. You never convince anybody of anything. You end up trying to convert them. So why alienate half of your audience? If you say the wrong thing, it literally costs you your job. Ask Gina Carano.
Oh, ouch. We can't. She's unavailable.
To me, there's not much of a benefit. Again, I do recognize that they have a larger platform, a larger crowd that they can speak to than maybe some of us normal folk. and I respect that. However, I'm watching something that's entertainment based, and I don't want to be preached to while I'm being entertained.
Makes sense.
I agree.
Got it. If the movie's about aliens, I can talk about aliens. Otherwise, don't tell you that aliens exist.
Yeah. I don't want to hear a 5-minute diatribe about how the aliens actually represent global warming and, I don't know, colonialism at the same time or some jive. I don't care. That alien just ate somebody's face. That's what I care about, and it scared me to almost peed in my popcorn.
I think as long as it pertains to the movie you're dealing, like Brokeback Mountain, if they want to talk about the gay experience and how the film helped that lifestyle come into more acceptance, I'm okay with that. It's when you just jump off on a diatribe because of your personal issue that has nothing to do with the movie that you're actually there winning for. That's when I don't want to hear about it.
All right, that's fair.
Agree.
Yeah, I mean, if it's related to the movie, something like that, then sure. But generally speaking, just stay out of politics. Stay out of,
Just thank your hairdresser. Just thank all the people that they don't want on the stage with you. There you go.
Yeah,
that have to have a private ceremony before the ceremony.
That third assistant that you have that you don't remember her name, thank her.
Yeah. Be awkward if you just call her assistant number 3 because you can't remember her name though.
Yeah, I like there's Jeannie and Roger and who's that third girl? Yeah. That one. I want to thank her too.
I just call her 3.
Especially if they work for Jake Gyllenhaal. What
just happened? All right, Troy, let's move back to you. What's your next Hollywood? Let's just stop.
Hollywood just stop canceling shows after one season, especially if only given 9 to 13 eps to tell their story. If you're going to pick up a series, then you have to have more than one season. It's why it's called a series, plural. Otherwise, just commit to one season and be done with it. Called a limited series. Books don't just magically add pages when the story ends. It ends. When you pick up a pilot, pick up the story, not just the first episode.
But if you want to build it into a series, you have to have the potential for more. So wouldn't you say that just don't end on a cliffhanger? Just end that particular story for the season that you get?
If you're going to cancel it, give me the ending, right? If you're going to keep it going, have a definitive end date in mind, like season 6 or less. But don't just keep making the show to make the show. Like then it's just, there's no story. It's a week-to-week sitcom or something. It's just, I want to sit down. Like all the stuff we watch today on streaming services in particular, I know that in 10 episodes, I'm going to get some kind of resolution. I watched Yellow Jackets because in 10 episodes, I'm going to know the end of something and it's going to set something else up. And then if you cancel it, then it's like, well, at least I got some resolution in that cancellation. But if you're going to pick up something that's the guy says, hey, I got this really great idea. It's going to take 5 years to do. You're picking it up, assuming you're going to do all 5 years. Otherwise, don't pick it up at all.
Well, what if nobody watches it? You're going to make five years of TV that nobody watches?
Yes. Otherwise, don't pick it up at all because it wasn't good enough. It wasn't good. If it's not good enough to finish the story wasn't good enough to begin with. Don't even pick up the book.
Or just didn't catch on. Sometimes shows don't catch on. That might have, Firefly, nobody was watching it. Could have been great. Never know. We'll never know.
I'm looking at you, Debris. Screw you, NBC. It was good.
All right. Well, my next one is Hollywood. Let's just stop paying actors exorbitant amounts of money when they're really not bankable. Like, why are so many actors still getting filthy rich? They're getting tens of millions of dollars for a movie or TV show that isn't proven yet and doesn't need a big star to sell it. I don't know there aren't many things that I'm watching just because of who stars in it anymore. The age of the movie star is very much over. There are still some that I'll check stuff out for, but the majority don't sell tickets like they used to and don't bring people to the streaming services like they used to. If the thing doesn't work, regardless of who's starring in it, I'm not going to watch it. I don't care who's in it. And if you want humble actors and people that aren't just egomaniacs, stop making them filthy rich before they've proven people love them over the product.
Well, and you got to pay them for the return of whatever it was that they were in.
You don't have to pay them 65. Like, there's millions and millions of dollars. The crew gets a pittance of what those salaries are, of what those expenses are.
Well, yeah, but to our conversation earlier, nobody's coming to see it because of the the CGI director and
I understand that, but I don't
dolly.
think people are coming to see it because of the leads as much anymore either. How many things do you watch just because of who's in it? I mean, you could probably pick two hands, 10 actors that you would, I'm going to carve out time.
That's fair.
You know, and it's just not
Just
like
because
it used to
just
be.
because they're in it.
Yeah.
Sure.
Now it's more like the ideas because there's so much content out there. It's what kind of stories being told? What kind of show is it? What kind of genre is it? Like that's this, and horror sells. Ain't nobody ever been, there's hardly ever a famous person in a horror movie, you know, or if it is, it's Devon Sawa. You know what I mean? It's somebody who was famous in the 90s.
Or Jamie Lee Curtis.
No, yeah, you go easy on Jamie Lee. All right. She's,
I'm just saying she's back.
She can do whatever she wants.
That's right. She's earned it.
I mean, I went and saw the American Underdog because Zach Levi was the lead.
Okay. You're the only one that saw that because Zachary Levi was the lead.
And because Kurt Warner's story was an interesting story.
That part I believe, but Zachary Levi is the lead. It's just you. It's just you. I saw the box office. Trust me, it's just you. You might have been just you that saw it. I saw it, but I don't know.
I was
if
only
paid
two
for it.
people in the theater when I went and saw it, but it was also 5 weeks after it
Gotta
started.
prove my point. I mean, it's one of those things where like, I get it. If you're Tom Cruise still brings in people, whether you like him or not, you know, there are still definitely some actors that bring people, and Ryan Reynolds is still popular, Jennifer Lawrence, Leonardo DiCaprio. You know, there's a bunch of people that still bring people, put butts in seats, but majority of them do not. Chris Hemsworth. I love Chris Hemsworth. I think he's a great actor. He hasn't had a real hit movie except for Extraction on Netflix. I guess you can count that, but I think it would have been just as popular no matter who it was. But as a box office draw, he isn't one. He isn't. Outside of Thor and the Marvel universe, he's not. He just doesn't put butts in seats for whatever the reasons. So why does he get tens of millions of dollars? You know, I mean, it's just, you've got an entire
Have
crew.
you seen those abs?
I guess I'm paying his personal trainer then. I mean, you can make the case for people like The Rock because his movies always put butts in seats, but there's a lot of these high quote unquote profile actors that, you know, just are getting millions and they don't really do much.
Yeah, they should do it like the NFL contracts where you get a per game bonus, per movie bonus or whatever. That's like your base salary for doing the movie. And then only when the movie does well, do you get the kickers for all that millions of dollars you want.
Well, they have,
granted, they have a signing bonus too in the NFL, but the signing bonuses are also pushed out, you know, financially.
So we could have like the studios, your major studios. I guess they're like the football teams, and they can sign however many. I guess whatever they can pay however much they want, or we set a salary cap, or
yeah, there we go. We get a salary cap, actor salary cap.
we work.
Each studio only gets hundreds of millions of
I
dollars or
guarantee you
whatever.
the studios would go for that.
Screen
But,
Actors
hey, you know,
Guild,
look,
Screen
you
Actors
know,
Guild
well,
becomes the
They already
NFL
have
Players
back
Union.
end points. They already have profit participation, which is kind of what you're talking about, which is a movie is a huge hit. They get a percentage of the gross profits. They already have some of that stuff. I'm just saying a lot of these guys get a lot of front end money when the crew is getting a pittance every single time. And if you're not a proven movie star, I don't know why that is still the case in this day and age. It feels like
Look,
they haven't caught up to their own business.
Yeah, but they push people on us like crazy.
Oh yeah.
They push people. And it doesn't always work out. Ask Taylor Kitsch. For about 4 years, he was in everything, and everything he was in freaking tanked. And the worst part is I like just about everything he was in. But yeah, he's not a, you know, they try to push people and make them stars, and it doesn't always work out. And sometimes it does. I mean, there's a lot of others that Lily Sobieski was in every movie for about 4 or 5 years as well. Then you can't find. She's probably working at Hardee's at this point.
Yes, that's where she gave me my sandwich last week. Yeah.
She did. She makes a great chicken biscuit.
All right.
You know?
Enough on mine. Brian, what do you got?
All right. So and it doesn't matter if it's a movie, if it's a series, it doesn't matter. just because you have a man and a woman as leads, do they always have to have some sort of romantic connection? Can they just be coworkers, be friends, be colleagues,
Yeah.
be partners? Does it have to be sexual tension between the two of them?
I mean, Billy Crystal like ruined that for everybody between him and Meg Ryan. He was just like,
but he's
guys
wrong.
and girls can't be friends.
He's wrong though.
Yeah, but every single there was a series I'm watching, or I recently wrapped up. There's only 2 seasons of it. I don't want to say it because I don't want to, but there's sexual tension between the 2 characters, and they're the 2 kind of co-leads of the series. And it worked in the sense that they weren't able to act on it. And even though at some point later in the second season, they're still not able to act on it. However, they act on it. And it's like, this, to me, this ruins it, because you've got that barrier, and you've got this, you almost have to you have to keep it professional. And I don't know, there's just one of those things to where, just because we have a male and a female lead, or, generally speaking, it's male and female, but why does there have to be a romantic connection? Why can't they just work together or be on the same mission, together? We're both trying to find this artifact. Why can't I just help you, and why can't you just help me? Why do we have to be all
Yeah, I'm with you.
horny for each other?
It annoys the crap out of me. Guess what? Most offices, everybody doesn't want to hump. That's just not the way it goes. They just work together, and they probably don't even talk to each other once they leave the office. Even if you have their number, maybe you want to get drinking 3 months, sure, and then they don't show up. That's really what office relationships are like. I mean, it boggles my mind that everybody always has to date because they think that's what we want. No, we don't. Sometimes you want to see friends. You want to see people actually be friends. And you know what? I loved Seinfeld because, yes, they used to have a relationship and whatnot, but Jerry and Elaine, for the majority of the show, it never felt like there was a sexual chemistry. It just felt like they were friends. He gave her crap, she gave him crap, and it felt like that's Friends. The show Friends, I'm not even a fan of that show, but the friends that didn't hump each other, like I always kind of admired that that they were just friends. And that was, a cool dynamic. Of course, by the end of the show, there was a lot less of them that hadn't.
I think that was only Phoebe that was left.
Yeah. Okay. I just ruined my own point, but it would have been so much better if they hadn't all had sex.
Right. Chandler and Monica. And then it was Ross and Rachel. And then Joey humped anything that moved. So
didn't he and Rachel get together too at some point or something? I don't know if they ever.
She moved in with him for a while. They don't think they didn't hook up. But she lived with him.
Oh, and we bought this? Like, that's one I can't buy. Like, they lived together for a while and didn't hump.
What we saw on TV, they didn't do anything, but
the rest of their lives, Ross is going to wonder.
Did you season 6 box set? Hey, Ross, could you?
All right.
We're on a break.
I like it, Brian, and I agree with you 100%. Stop doing it. Just stop.
Awesome.
All right, Troy. Third one, and then after we go through our thirds, we're going to talk about Scream. I got a Scream giveaway coming up, and then we're going to get into listener comments.
Well, Hollywood, you should just stop making the same thing everyone else makes, i.e. This Is Us, and then A Million Little Things comes out, or The Blacklist, and then The Endgame comes out on the same network.
It's the same damn show, man. It's so weird.
The same show. We don't need the next great Doctor show. We don't need the next big Lost or Game of Thrones epic. It's a baseball analogy or football analogy, a sports analogy, but singles move base runners, first downs or 10 yards. We don't need a grand slam swing. We don't need a Hail Mary pass. Just make good content and original content with original thought.
And if you're going to make the end game, cancel The Blacklist. Please, dear God. I'm with you 150%, except for I do want more Game of Thrones, and I don't care what you have to say about that.
But make it different. It doesn't have to be a medieval epic. You could do something Game of Thrones, but not make it medieval.
You could just do the last 2 seasons for a lot of people.
Quit marketing everything as this is the Game of Thrones of Amazon Prime, or this is the Game of Thrones of space, and this is the Game of Thrones of something else. Just make your own stuff.
Flash Forward is the new Lost. La Brea is the new Lost. La Brea was
Hollywood's
lost.
been doing
That's
this for decades, though.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is. I mean, every time a movie comes out, if it looks like it's going to be an epic movie, you know, and sometimes series, then there's somebody always making the word gets out. Producers talk. You know, all these word gets around. You've got like Tombstone and Wyatt Earp. You've got Armageddon and Deep Impact, and it's not always just the super cheap, you know, really crappy D-level movies, you know, Roger Corman type stuff. It's it's actually quality movies. It's just they making something slightly different.
Ants and A Bug's Life came out about the same time.
Right. So it's one of those, it's like they say in sports, it's a copycat league, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, we went back to a sports analogy. I like it.
Somebody's got to, you know, add some testosterone to this podcast.
Okay, so Hollywood, let's just stop giving soft interviews to celebrities and stop asking dumbass questions. Tom Holland, what happened at the end of Spider-Man? He can't tell you. It's a dumbass question. Stop it. No director or actor is ever going to give away the end of their movie or their TV show. They're not going to do it, so stop asking. They do it in every single celebrity interview. It drives me batshit crazy. Can you tell us what's coming up? No, he can't. He or she absolutely cannot. No one does. You know what? I ask everyone the same. I ask everyone one question when I interview them, and that's, why did you get into filmmaking? Because nobody ever asks it, and I can't for the life of me figure out why. You're talking to people that are involved in filmmaking. Why are you doing it? Jesus. There we go. Ask some relevant shit. That's all I'm asking.
So we can't ask them how it ends. We can't ask them what they're wearing. We can't ask them what they've dressed in. Who did their hair.
Have real conversations. If you're going to interview them, I mean, sure, I get like late night talk shows. They got to be cutesy and stuff. But man, all these red carpet interviews and whenever they're promoting everything, it's literally the exact same questions and they all suck. It's hard.
Agreed.
Yeah. It's difficult to watch.
Those red carpet interviews would be so easily solved if we had Editing 101 with Tommy from Studio A.
All right, Brian, your last one before we move on to what listeners had to say.
All right. This is just for the filmmaking aspect. Anytime, just stop parking, like stopping the car and getting out of the car like a half a mile away from the front door of a house or a building or the meeting place, whatever. You ever notice how, like, whenever a car arrives, they never pull up close to the door? They park like halfway down the driveway and walk a half a mile up to the house or the building or whoever they're meeting. Just drive up to each other and park. What is wrong with that?
Or they park across the street from the park and then they have to walk across the street and almost die.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like you parked over at the cemetery where Fast and Furious, you know, where they were burying people there. You know, you're walking all the way to Arizona. What the crap?
They have a funeral.
Pull up to wherever you're going.
Why do they do that? They have a funeral and they never park next to where the person's being buried. I'm like, man, I drive up to the freaking plot. Like, what are you talking about? Why are you walking so far?
That might be.
I mean, it might not be advisable, but that's what I do. I don't have all this time. Let's go.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. And it's just, I don't know why there's hardly ever a dramatic walking scene. I mean, but you see a car pull up. There's a car sitting there, right? And it's not just a drug deal or a CI and a cop, you know, trying to play it cool or whatever. They're in the middle of nowhere. Maybe there's a house and somebody pulls up and they're, I don't know, 100 yards from maybe 100 yards is a bit far, but 40 or 50 yards away, easy. It's like, just, you know, follow through, drive all the way up there and park.
Here's another idea. Maybe I don't care where you parked. Just show me the exterior. Ah, okay, so he's at Target now. Got it. I don't need to know where your car's at, unless it's going to be pivotal to the movie later when he runs out and he needs to find that car. Okay, then I get it. But otherwise, I don't care. Park at the handicap spot. Yeah. I'm not going to give you a ticket.
I still want to see that movie now where he comes out of Target and there's like 7 of the same car parked next to each other.
Right.
7 El Caminos all lined up.
Try to get into each one, starting each one is like, it won't start. The bad guys are still trying to get through the barrel of toys that fell on Target.
That's funny. that and start saying bye to people. I mean, I can go all day on that kind of thing. You know, those little,
oh God,
those are just, that kind of stuff really, really, really annoys me. Go to the show a character going to the bathroom if they're on an all-night chase, please, just so I know they're not going to get some kind of urinary tract infection. It just makes me feel better. Stop having people drink out of the cartons because it just pisses me off. Nobody really does that anymore unless you're a savage or you live alone, in which case, you know, then you probably should.
Or you just claim the orange juice is your bottle and they have to drink the other one.
Wow.
Right.
Spoken like a dad. That's my orange juice bottle. My name's on it. Don't drink it. All right, well, we're going to move on to some listener thoughts. But before that, guess what? You can buy or rent the all-new Scream movie tonight on digital, starring Neve Campbell, David Arquette, Courtney Cox. The new hit movie is certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes, and critics are calling it 100% terrifying. We loved it when we saw it. I hope you guys go check it out too. You can buy it on digital today, and you get killer bonus content, including deleted scenes, cast interviews, and a whole lot more. It's available at participating retailers. It's rated R from Paramount Pictures. And guess what? We are also having a contest to give away several copies of Scream. We're just going to give them away. All you have to do is share any episode of the Hollywood Outsider on your social media. Tag us at BuyPopcorn on Twitter or at The Hollywood Outsider on Facebook. Then email us at contests@thehollywoodoutsiders.com with the subject line, I'm screaming, with your name, and then you'll be entered into a contest to win one of several copies of Scream that we are giving away. But definitely check out Scream. It was a lot of fun. If you were debating if they returned to form, they absolutely did. It's the best Scream movie, I would say, since the first one. So definitely check that out. Loved it. And if Amanda was here, she would be raving about this as well. But she didn't show up. I don't know what to say about that.
I do. Suck it.
All right, so let's move on. Now we're going to tell you what some listeners thought. Here's what some of our listeners, when we polled them in Twitter and Facebook, some of them had to say. Lindsay Mitchell says, Hollywood, let's just stop assuming a story about a woman has to end with a wedding or a baby to be complete.
I'm good with that.
Kind of is it's pretty sad that we are in that place in the world where that happens so often. I'm trying to think of cases where it doesn't.
I'm thinking of a movie now where a female baby gets married. That would be kind of interesting. Like Boss Baby Female Edition or something.
Wasn't that the sequel to Three Men and a Baby? No, nothing?
3 Men and a Little Lady?
All right. They can't all be Jims, I guess.
They sure can. They sure can.
You got to throw a bad one in there. It could make all the other ones more funny.
I do like when they take some chances with that. I really like, was it the Vince Vaughn movie, The Breakup, where they actually break up and you think they're going to work it out, but they don't. But you get that little hint and glimmer at the end, but it doesn't end on that happy note. It actually ends with, you know what? People grow up and they move on. Sometimes that happens. Like a real relationship.
Yeah.
All relationships end badly.
Jesus, man. That's
reminiscence.
Right. Go appreciate you bringing up the room there, Troy.
So dark.
I'm just
so dark.
That's what the movie was about. Go watch Reminiscence. I'm telling you.
All right. Well, David McGraw says, and keep in mind, if you know David, he doesn't know how to say anything succinctly. Along the lines with several others like Dally Pitt, Clark, Ryan, Wayne, and others, David McGraw had a very similar thought, which is, Hollywood, let's just stop rebooting, rehashing, reimagining, etc. Spielberg just did West Side Story, and I just read he's now going to do a new Bullet movie based on the old Steve McQueen flick. I think it's more based on the book, but I'm sure it'll be good. But I long for the days when Spielberg wasn't just directing great original films like Raiders, Close Encounters, Jaws, E.T., etc., but through Amblin Entertainment, letting other directors create great original movies like The Goonies, Back to the Future, Explorers, Poltergeist, and so on. Now it seems like almost everything has to be based on an existing IP. So many filmmakers, J.J. Abrams, try to replicate the feeling of the 80s by copying these, but they rarely do. I'd like to see an Amblin-like era rise again these days.
You be quiet, Dave McGraw. Super 8 was freaking amazing.
Yeah, it was good.
It gave me the nostalgia feel. That's why the reboots happen, because it gives you the nostalgia feel.
Right, but he's not wrong. I mean, we talked about this a little bit last week. There's less new stuff in the world that is popular entertainment. You know, they're not trying to make new stuff. They're just going back to the same well. I like Ghostbusters Afterlife, but it was all just pulling on your heartstrings from what you loved about the original. Didn't really offer a ton that was new. because it had to go back to the well to really get you engaged again. And we don't need to keep doing that, do we?
Well, I mean, you could say the same thing for Scream. I mean, it went back to the well too. And the reason why they're going back to the well is because they're establishing a connection between you and what you liked in your past, plus the new generation tagging along with you now. And then they can tweak it for what the future format was going to be. Take Westworld, for example. Westworld played off with the idea from 1973, brought it back for people that were going to remember Yul Brynner and go, oh yeah, that was that cool robot movie. Let's watch that, and see how it goes. And then made it into something completely new as far as how the world's falling apart politically, digitally, and all that other stuff. So I think there's a place for these reboot rehashings to happen as long as they're going to take the property into something different. If it's just, let's remake it to remake its sake, then it's a different story. Plus, I'm just bitter that they haven't remade a live action Thundercats yet. Let's just be clear.
Oh,
yeah. No, I'll agree with your bitterness on that issue. Look, there's been a lot more of the reboots, redos in the last 10 to 20 years that I have just disdain for. Not just didn't like, but disdain than the ones I actually liked. I agree. Just, there's a billion scripts out there from people who have written all kinds of stuff that are just sitting in piles. Find something, hire some different writers, say, okay, look, we got something here, but we need somebody to make it better. You don't have to just redo Goonies or Red Dawn or whatever. You don't have to do any of that. What made them great was because that was the right movie at the right time for the right audience. It's just, you can't recreate that these days. So leave them alone. Bullet was great because it was a chase scene that you'd never seen before back in the 66 or 67, whenever it was. That's what made the movie. The rest of the movie, look, I've watched the movie a dozen times.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of things wrong with that movie. It is not really that good of a movie. It's still one of the best car chase scenes of all time, even though they use different car sounds for the different, like a Dodge for the Mustang type of stuff, and the same hubcap falls off a few times, whatever. There's little nitpicky things about it. There's no way that either one of those cars could survive that car chase, but it's a fun car chase to watch. And it was, at the time, really never seen before. I have no interest in it. I literally have a Bullet poster right there by those golf clubs.
Oh, well, that's cool in a podcast. I'm sure everybody can see. Right next, right behind him. He does. Right My God, you do have a Bullet poster.
Confirm.
You do. We can confirm that is accurate.
So, yeah, the point is, it was good for its time. You don't need to redo Bullet. I thought that's basically what are you going to do? Fast and Furious 1 over again?
Yes, they will.
It's probably more like 3, driving through the junkyard in the opening sequence. The construction site, through the house. There's no way those cars would survive that.
Right.
Here's an interesting one that might cause some conversation. Barnabas Frid says, stop with wedging in an LGBTQ character for no reason other than to say we are woke. If it fits the story, then do it. Don't do it just because. That's a tricky one. I get what you're saying. On the same token, there's been straight white people in literally everything for a long time. So I don't necessarily think that it's just there to be quote unquote woke. It's to show representation and to make people feel like they are part of the experience. So to an extent, I kind of understand what you're saying, because I've seen that where they jam, it isn't like the old days where they had a bunch of stereotypes show up. I mean, now I feel like they're inserting fully fledged characters. I don't really know if it necessarily is that same dynamic these days.
You mean how they inserted all those white people into The Last Airbender instead of actually getting Asian Pacific Islander actors? Kind of like that?
Mm-hmm. It's tricky.
Yeah, I mean, didn't Brooklyn Nine-Nine, isn't the police chief, isn't he gay? Isn't his character gay in the series?
I think so. I don't watch it, but I think so. I mean, I've watched a handful of episodes. If I'm remembering it right, I believe he is. And it doesn't feel forced. It's a good example of
it works. It just works. But I agree with trying to force something, and it could be whatever, it's LGBTQ stuff or anything else. It could just, I don't like any character or representation being forced into a situation that just like, just really don't.
It doesn't feel
I just
natural.
really don't see this dynamic happening. Yeah, this is a little too, forced. I can fine with whatever. It's got to feel natural, though.
I feel like too often these days people are using the term woke when it's really just, it's more representation for people that haven't been represented. I mean,
That's fair.
I'm sorry. We've had straight white people and stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of terms being thrown around these days.
Sure.
That are not. They're not exactly what the word really means, or has traditionally been used for. But there's a lot of words out there these days that are that are getting watered down. That's for sure.
Or overused.
Yeah, definitely because I'm all for representation. So if it's to expand those horizons and have, expanded cultural dynamics, I think it was Jonathan Ely, someone else that wrote in and just said basically don't have blanket casting for races. Not all Asian, Black, Hispanic people look a certain way. So let's stop, looking for stereotypes and cast appropriate actors based on accuracies. And I think that's accurate too. I mean, too often, they cast what they think is Japanese. Well, Japanese is a very mixed culture these days, so, I mean, it's not the Godzilla movies, for Christ's sake. I mean, things have evolved, and I think at some point film has to reflect that. And that just means that we have to be. But I think people get so used to the way they've seen movies for the last 30 years that every time you get a change in it and it looks more like what I see when I go to the grocery store, they freak out and they call it woke. And I just don't think that's the right answer.
Yeah, because I think there's a lot that goes into people that are observing this as well. Just because you see it doesn't necessarily mean that was the intention of the insertion of the character. It's probably just a you thing because you're not used to seeing it in that way. So you're thinking it's inserted, but actually it was that way all along.
Ooh, look at you.
Look at the big brain on Brad. Andreas says, Hollywood, let's just stop. Those cookie cutter superhero movies. Those brain dead fan service sequels, remakes, prequels, and create new stuff. Just saw Uncharted, and it was so bad on so many levels, I can't take it anymore. Then don't go.
Is it really that bad?
No, I enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun with Uncharted, and I love the games. I never understand and Andreas is a longtime fan, so I am not trying to poo-poo him and what he enjoyed.
Oh, he's totally poo-pooing you, Andreas.
Yeah,
he's totally
you son of a bitch.
Poo-poo.
Why can't you like the things I like? That's how this works.
But he's not wrong. I mean, there's like...
No, he is wrong. Uncharted was fun. It's an opinion. Well, anyway, he's not wrong. That's his opinion. If he didn't like it, he didn't like it. I'm not knocking that.
He is wrong that Uncharted is a superhero movie, though, because he's trying to compare the two. But like, we do not need Iron Man 1, 2, and 3. Like, one Iron Man would have been fine, and then go on to Thor, and then go on to
But here's
Captain
what
America.
I would say. We did because people paid for it. So you didn't, he didn't, we did. And I didn't even like Iron Man 3. But
who did?
The pop culture did need that. They wanted to see it. They went out in droves and saw it. So just because you didn't like it, I didn't like it, doesn't mean that the world didn't need it. Just don't go see it then. You know what's funny is most of these things people still go see. So we're saying, don't make this. I don't want this anymore. You're just regurgitating the same thing. But I saw it. Well, that's on you too. Then, I mean, you can't really say don't make it if you're paying for it, because that's why they make it, because you paid for it.
Now you can say stop making the movies because it's just a regurgitation of the comics. Come up with an original idea. Make a new superhero.
People want to see it.
Can we just continue properties? Do we have to do a prequel for everything?
Yeah, make up a new story with Star-Lord.
That's
Sure.
another. I guess I'm sneaking into number 4, a bonus one. Now that we're on,
It's podcast, Brian.
prequels and what have you. Yeah, is prequels. Why is it you have? Oh, we started something. It's good. We got 2 seasons or 2 movies. That's good. Now let's do a prequel. I don't need backstory. I don't need massive backstories on how they got to stuff. Like Yellowstone is good. I'll be honest with you. 1883 is actually better. That I really like that. It is you don't need to watch the first 5 minutes of any episode of Yellowstone to follow what's going on in 1883 on Paramount.
I might check it out because that's the only reason I haven't watched it, because I thought I'd have to like
It stands alone. It is good. Tim McGraw is amazing. Faith Hill is great. The girl that plays her daughter is amazing. A little bit too much voiceover stuff, but other than that, it's a very good Western. Sam Elliott is Sam freaking Elliott.
That's all I need to know.
That's the exception to the rule. I'm just sick of, like, Boba Fett is they ruined one of the best characters they ever had in Star Wars. They ruined this freaking guy. It's not exactly a prequel, but it kind of is. It's like, okay, well, they went back to show how he miraculously gets out of that sand monster pit thing.
That's ridiculous.
To me, it's just a prequel. Anytime you have one or two movies and they're hits, and then all of a sudden here comes the third one or third season, and it's a prequel. It never holds up to the rest of it.
The only thing I would say is
except for 1883.
That would not count as a prequel because it happens after the events you saw of Return of the Jedi, so it's still a sequel.
But it was a prequel to The Mandalorian.
It's a midquel. How's that?
It's a midquel. We're just making up shit now.
Is that a mid?
Jesus.
Scream called it a requel. Why can't we call it a midquel?
I mean, you know what's true is that they've made a ton of these prequels, and very few of them are very successful. I mean, for every Batman Begins, there's The Thing. There's a ton of those kinds of prequels where, well, let's show the events of what happened before the thing that was popular. That's not what people want to see. They want to see a continuation of the thing they liked. That's why they liked it.
Want to see a new story.
Right.
With the same characters you love.
Like, I thought that's one of the things that the Cloverfield franchise did pretty well was, even though all three of those movies were tied together, they were all different locations and different events going on. And it was kind of linear, but it was also pretty, what's the other? Not non-linear.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a hot minute since I mentioned Station 11, but Station 11,
oh, Jesus
they established the book, and you got the characters of the book, but there's like an entire globe that dealt with the events of what happened in Station 11. Go tell me a story about what happened in Montana and New York and Miami and all different people.
Sure.
But it's still in the universe. That would be interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't need to know what happened up before. I haven't watched Station 11 yet. It's on my watch list, but all that kind of stuff. I don't need, just because something's a hit. Prequel is just, it's just lazy. And there is a certain thing to be said about the mystery of not knowing how things evolved before then, or how we got to that starting point. I don't necessarily need to know that. More often than not, I don't want to know that. Just, you've got me hooked on these characters going forward, this story, maybe this story or this event that these people are dealing with. Let's see how that plays out.
It's probably why Fear the Walking Dead didn't take off right away, right? Because that first season or two like answered the what happened when Rick was unconscious, and it's like you didn't need that answer. You just assumed, oh yeah, everybody turned into a zombie. Once you got past that point, then Fear actually turns out to be a pretty good show when Morgan shows up.
Yeah,
doesn't
agree.
Stuart better.
Stuart Bannerman.
You don't watch it.
I watched it when Morgan was on there, bitch. When Morgan went on that show, I watched it, and I'm like, I don't care about any of these people. So I like Morgan. He's the only one I like.
Garrett Dillahunt and
he's your boyfriend.
Jenna Elfman
I know.
Really elevated that show. So
he elevates everything
really
that you watch him in. You like him a lot.
I do like Garrett Dillahunt a lot. He's like yeah.
So what you're saying is that if he was the lead in a movie, that Brian would actually go watch that movie because he was the lead in it?
No, Garrett Dillahunt is not a lead actor. There's too many actors. There's certain actors that are made for supporting roles. John C. Reilly is a great supporting role actor. He is not a good leading actor.
Agreed. All right, Stuart Bannerman says, Hollywood, let's just stop announcing release dates before anything else has been done. Announce the date when a film's completed. Period. Agree?
Not wrong.
That's great.
Or at least get it like 85% of the way done, right?
Maybe. All right. Let's circle back to our where we compare them to sports teams, right? So we've got salary caps for the studios.
Okay.
Now here it is. We have it. Oh no! I got this. So we have, and this is something. The ratings would blow the doors off the Oscars, the Golden Globes, the SAGs, the Tonys, the Emmys, all of that combined. You have, let's say, 2 years in advance, right? You have a televised studio draft of release dates for these movies, right? They have guidelines for the movie must be at a certain stage in production, pretty much wrapped, close to it, what have you, within just a little bit of completion. You got to have time for post-production and all that, right? And
Okay.
release and all that. So, but then you have, it's got to be a certain time out, like maybe like 2 years out, but they have some sort of bidding war on certain dates. All right. Warner Brothers, you get first pick, all right, well, we want this weekend for this movie. We've got this in development. We want July 4th weekend. And then they rotate around.
I kind of like this idea.
I kind of like it. I mean, it's kind of what they
Warner
do now.
Brothers, you sucked last year. You didn't make any money at all at the box office. You get first pick this year.
Aw.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe, the smaller studios, maybe you've got a way to help them be a little bit more competitive in the draft picks. Maybe it's a random, maybe it's a lottery thing, kind of like the NBA where they draw, they get extra lottery balls to draw out of or something like that, whatever the case is. Again, this is coming up with this idea on the spot. I don't have everything fleshed out at this moment.
Well, you're going to have to finish this.
Yeah.
You're going to have to write it up, and you're going to have to submit it to all the studios, and we'll see if we can get them on board. Maybe Dave Chappelle could do a skit like this, too.
But that's something that could like draw up anticipation and they have to say that, okay, we want this weekend. However, this is the movie that we're putting on this weekend. So we want July 4th weekend, but we're putting Spider-Man 12 on there.
I like it.
So,
but only one studio gets it at a time, so you only get one new release every weekend? Is that what you're thinking? Or two or whatever?
Yeah, generally speaking, yeah.
You're rolling
Then
dice.
you have-
If you want to pick the same weekend as somebody else, I mean, you got to go up and prove that you got the better competition, I guess.
And again, that's one of the details. Maybe you can, yeah, exactly. You can pick the same one, but maybe you can't have. Maybe you've got certain level studios, right? You're in a certain class, A class, or something like that. Your major studios, and you can't have more than say two of those on the same opening weekend, right? So this way, again, it makes it kind of fair in a way. It spreads them all out. They're not all crammed in summer. It's not 3 movies are being released this weekend in every weekend from May through beginning of September. It's 3 different movies I've got to pick from for, there's something special. There's something special about these weekends now. And they're kind of spread out more throughout the year. It's not just Christmas and summer anymore. January has a profitable month. February has a profitable month.
I like it.
I got this. Just put me in charge, damn it. You know what? Give me one more week. I'll figure it out.
You got it. Next one, Paula Francine says, Hollywood, let's just stop shaky cam. Makes me nauseous, and it isn't helpful to any story.
It's helpful to Cloverfield.
No. Yeah, look. That
Cloverfield made my ex nauseous.
Yep, exactly. I did not like it in Cloverfield. Bourne Identity. It wasn't Bourne Identity. It actually started in the second one, so it was like Bourne Supremacy or whatever.
They're all the same.
Blair Witch.
Yeah, but Identity was a lot smoother. The action flowed a lot smoother, and then they started doing shaky cam in the other 3 movies because Paul Greengrass loves it, and I hate it. I can't tell you the last time I saw a movie with handheld cameras that look good. It looks realistic. Yeah, and that I can't see what's going on because I feel like I'm the one getting my ass kicked because I'm on the ground rolling around. Woo,
Yeah,
that's fun.
I hate watching my friends' videos when they're on vacation and they're holding their cell phone camera as you're bouncing, riding on the back of a 4-wheeler or something.
Whee!
Or you're just walking down a street going, hey, look at this shot. We can't see it because you're bouncing all over the freaking place.
Can't stand it.
Yeah, but if it's found footage like Blair Witch or Cloverfield, I mean, it's intended for that style versus like, I just want to use it. That's different.
It still doesn't work great. And usually found footage works when, the cameras, like Paranormal Activity does it great because a lot of those cameras are stationary. They don't necessarily move a lot.
Right.
That's why I don't mind it as much. But when a movie does constant handheld camera stuff, it is exhausting. Paul Greengrass he's a fine director, but I hate that style. It just annoys me. I really can't tell you how many times I wish I could see many of the movements that are happening in Bourne movies, But unfortunately, it's so quick cut and shaky cam, it's hard to even tell. I know he kicked that guy's ass because the guy looks very sad on the ground, but I didn't really see it.
That's why the one scene you see out of every Bourne movie, the one clip that you see is him jumping from the ceiling or from the roof of that one building into the window of another building, because it's like the smoothest motion of any of those movies.
Yeah. And I get it. It's supposed to, this feels visceral. It feels real. Yeah, it really pisses me off.
It feels nauseous.
But then you wouldn't get Hardcore Henry.
Hardcore.
Yeah.
But see, that was, I mean, at least I understood why they were trying, like, I guess that's the difference maybe. Found footage, they're trying to give you that reality. They're trying to say, person's holding the camera, person's filming it. It makes sense for the story being told. Hardcore Henry, it's supposed to be told in the first person. That's the whole point of it. You're supposed to be seeing it like you're the person. I guess the thing that really pisses me off is when it's a movie that has nothing to do with any of those things, and it just does that. And it's like, why? I want to see a movie, not whatever the hell this is. I want to actually see what happens, not, just get jarred left and right and shooken up. And basically I'm a pepper shaker. Like, that's not what my dream is, to be a pepper shaker.
Here's my recommendation for those types of movies. If that's what they want to go for, from here on, do like they did back in the 60s and 70s, where the movie starts out in letterbox form, right? In the big widescreen version. Then all of a sudden, before you know it, boom, it's full screen. The black bars have disappeared. You don't even realize it. You can do the exact same thing with a shaky cam. You start off, okay, we're running down this sewer, boop, 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 and it's shaky. We round a corner, then we meet up in this little chamber. We're trying to figure out what's going on. Everything kind of slows down for a second. The shakiness stops. They go through the next door to go on for whatever it is they're running from, and it's smooth the rest of the way. You could, you've established this is kind of a first-person type of format type of deal, and then you can just, not make people seasick from there on.
So the real question is he actually talking about it, or am I just assuming he's talking about it?
No, I'm not talking about it, but I'm just,
because you said it earlier in the podcast too, and I was like, wait, do you got like it? Do you got it on the brain?
It's just random shit popping through my head. That's all. I don't have a deeper meaning at all.
Well, that we know.
I'm very shallow.
Wow. Hey, our show is independently funded. Therefore, all the expenses are from our own pockets, and Patreon helps fans support the favorite podcast. Once you sign up, you get immediate access to all the content in your respective tier. So if you want to do that, if you want to support the show, go to patreon.com/The Hollywood Outsider, patreon.com/The Hollywood Outsider, and you can sign up there and you get immediate access to whatever you sign up for. Now, Mark Andrew says, Hollywood, let's just stop with the 5 to 10 logos of production companies that play before openings just to have the names of those same companies in opening credits. Amen.
Agree.
Hell.
You get to be in the credits or the logos, not both.
I don't know. I'll pay you $20 million to help out with your movie. I kind of want some recognition.
Brian's like, put my yearbook photo up there. I don't give a shit.
That's right.
But you're in the credits. Do you need to spend the $10 million or the $20 million that you got back in the investment to make some special CGI graphic thing that's going to play for 3 seconds that no one's going to remember?
I need people to remember my name so that they know that they can come to me for money, and that so I can make more money off of you.
Interesting.
That simple.
So it's ego.
No, it's business.
No, I mean business and ego. A little bit of both.
No. It's about, hey, look, again, if I'm a major contributor to your movie, then it's I've got to get something back. I'm taking a gamble that your movie is going to make money. It's not guaranteed to make money. So I'm going to make sure that I get some sort of visibility.
Fair enough.
To know that people can come to me for money.
I'm still with Mark. All right, Katie Johnson. Hollywood, let's just stop supporting well-established, powerful, middle-aged men who prey on or groom young women and men sexually. Well, hell yeah. Yeah, I think we can all agree with that one. Faux show.
Nah.
I think we have
Stop,
to.
No,
Brian,
just kidding. Come on. It's just kidding. Just kidding. it got quiet there. Somebody had,
Yeah.
just
Oh, boy.
joking.
Oh, boy.
Just joking.
I wonder if his email still works. Brian at thehollywoodoutsiders.com. Deborah, let's just stop. Hollywood, let's just stop with the rom-com trope of if he is persistent, or she, if they are persistent and keeps producing grand displays of affection, he or she will get the girl or guy. It's really out here convincing people that no only means no if you're not willing to harass someone. God, that's really true when you think about it.
It is. I've said that for years. It's, there's a very thin line between being romantic and being stalker. If if the girl's interested, then it's romantic. If she's not, bitch, you going to jail. You getting a restraining order.
And I'll never understand how many people just rave about You, the show You. And I'm like, this is everything women say they never, ever want to encounter in their life. Like, he is the absolute worst human being you could come across if you're single, or even if you're not, apparently. Yep. I don't understand it. And you're right. There's so many people that it was so charming the way he stood outside her, Say Anything. He stood outside with that boombox and he played the music. Oh, he played Peter Gabriel. It's just so warm and moving. No, that I would, if I was that girl's dad, I'd be beating the shit out of this poor guy in my lawn. I'm like, get out of here, you crazy son of a bitch. That's wrong.
No, the conversation would be more like, hey son, come here. Let's just have a talk. This ain't going to happen. This ain't going to happen. You're embarrassing yourself. Get a little self-esteem, gain a little self-worth. She ain't interested, buddy. Find somebody else. This is embarrassing.
Just think of all the money you wasted on those D batteries just to get this song to play. It's pathetic.
Come on,
the
man.
woofers on that thing are just not up to my daughter's standards.
Right. Teller Seaver, Hollywood, let's just stop with the 2.5 hour movies. It's not always necessary, especially if you don't pace it right. Man, I can't tell you. One of the things I love about going to film festivals is because, usually an independent film, they don't have a lot of money. So they really tighten their scripts up. They tighten their films up. They're hour 30, hour 40, something like that. They're lean, they're crisp. The story gets to the point. And I usually love the story because it's so tight. But for whatever reason, Hollywood just keeps fluffing and fluffing and fluffing. And it ends up 2.5 hours, 3 hours. I mean, The Batman might be fantastic, but is it 3 hours fantastic? That's a long time to not pee.
Yeah, if you break it up, like A Quiet Place and A Quiet Place 2, you get 2 movies out of it and make twice as much money. Just saying.
Yeah, there we go. Business.
Great. Now we can write off the podcast. Thanks, Brian.
I think if you've got 2.5 to 3 hours worth of material, then fine. I mean, you're talking Lord of the Rings stuff, you could probably add another hour or two to that, and I'd still be fine at 14 hours or something. But some of these movies seem to be stretched out more than what they really should be, or series even. Even some of these series, that are 13 episodes probably could have been much better at 8 or 9 hours, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I agree. It's like, I'm fine, especially the way movie prices are. I want to get my money's worth. I don't want to spend $20 a person going to see a movie if it's an hour and a half. To me, the value's not there. But if it's something that's maybe historical, maybe based on a property that's got a lot of depth to it, and it's stretched out to 2.5 hours, I'm fine with that.
It's all in the content.
But not just to make it, not just to do it just because some studio says we need to make this at least 2.5 hours.
And sometimes, it can be a 2 hour movie that's just too long. I saw Power of the Dog. It has some great performances in it, but that movie is at least 20 minutes too long, if not a little bit more. I just think you can make leaner movies and it ends up making the story a lot better, personally, but teach their own. Jennifer Miller, Hollywood, let's just stop making women practically obsolete after they turn 40. They are relegated to mom, grandmother, background, while men get to carry films well past 40. I totally agree with you.
At the same time, there are clearly female actors who are in that over 40 crowd who are still going strong. Charlize Theron, you're talking
Salma.
Salma
Hayek. Oh dear God, she's so yeah. Sorry.
She's drinking the same baby blood that Tom Cruise is.
God bless her.
Right.
Just keep drinking it. It's amazing.
Great.
It is. And actually, I think that actually is changing because, I mean, you look at the roles Meryl Streep's had the last, 10, 15 years. She just keeps getting better and better parts, which is wild to me. Renee Zellweger's having a resurgence. I mean, you talked about Charlize Theron. She's doing action roles still. So there are changes happening. I do agree it needs to be more often. But, Robin Wright, she was in Wonder Woman. She's fantastic in that.
Felicia Rashad.
Oh, yeah.
Felicia Rashad.
Yeah. She was on This Is Us recently.
Oh. Was she
Now,
playing?
granted, she was playing Beth's mom, but, I mean...
Well, that's kind of going against the point then, Troy. Damn it, man.
Yeah, but she's also, 60-something, maybe 70 years old? I mean...
Oh, she's got to be 75 at
Yeah,
least.
you're not casting her as an action hero.
She's kind of... you're not... Yeah, she's not... Yeah, she's not doing the John Wick remix. she's...
I would watch Felicia Rashad as a John Wick remake. I would watch it. There'd be a lot more scolding involved before all the murder.
Right.
Politeful scolding. Okay. So then we're going to jump in. Let's see. Billy Axel Foley, Hollywood. Let's just stop with the nostalgia. Give us new stories. Nostalgia's the thing right now. We've talked about this for the last several episodes. It is really, I think it's becoming a problem where, we're relying a little too much on nostalgia. And
yeah, but it's a finite, there's only a finite supply. We've already plowed through we ruined the 80s.
now it's the 90s turn.
We're into the 90s.
Yep.
Yeah, we're into the 90s.
We get to 2000s, it's all over because all they had in the 2000s was reality TV. Let's remake Survivor and Amazing. Wait, they're still on the air. Never mind.
Oh, think of the.
Yeah, can't
they're not
do
going to
that.
have any nostalgic stuff coming out in like 20 years. Nothing. That'll be just disappointing. All right. Ann Golden.
This is us still.
This was us. This will be us again. Ann Golden. Hollywood, let's just stop fake eating. Nobody really eats or drinks, and it annoys me. The worst fake eating I've ever seen is The Big Bang Theory. It's bad on everything, especially when they drink coffee, because it's always like that empty coffee cup you know is empty. You never see coffee in it, but they keep sipping at it. But on the same token, when they eat for real, because there are some shows where that's hard on the actor, because if they're going to do like 15 or 20 takes, man,
They spit it out every time.
that's brutal. I would imagine that would be brutal.
Yeah.
Even as somebody
And
who
I've
likes
seen
food.
I've seen a lot. Yeah, I've seen a number of interviews and behind the scenes stuff where it's somebody that's eating that bite of a sandwich or drinking that beer or something, and they have to do that take 17, 25 times. And it's like, hold up a minute, this is, let me purge,
Let me purge. Hold on.
Got to make room for the next 15 takes.
All right. And lastly, Rita Agrila. Hollywood, let's just stop. I would like for people in movies to lock their cars after they park, like every living person does, as well as their doors. Just lock stuff up, man. That's true. When they walk away from their car and you don't hear the beep, I'm just like, well, now you got to check the trunk. You got to check the back seat. You can't just get back in that car. It's dangerous. Somebody's there.
It's bad enough I'm standing by the tire looking in the trunk to get my Achilles tendon completely slashed.
I can't for the life of me understand. And it happens. I can't tell you. There's always a few movies or TV shows where it happens every year, right? Where somebody pops up in the back seat. How do you not know that? How do you not know there's someone literally in your back seat? Cars aren't that big. It's not a camper that you're driving. They're not hiding in the bathroom. Jesus.
Yeah. How do you not walk up on your car and go tap, tap, tap? Hey, what the hell are you doing in my car?
Right. I wonder what that giant thing is there in my back seat. Oh, it must be a blanket.
To the Home Depot with me this morning. I forget.
I could have sworn that tarp was folded up in its bag when I put it in the back seat.
So weird. Odd.
So weird that it's all out laying there in the floorboard. That's weird.
Or your trunk is open and somebody just closes it. You wouldn't just close it. You would open it wide open and triple check it. Like what the? And then maybe look in the back seat, look under the car, look on the side, look in the muffler. You would do some due diligence. People are stupid in movies.
Yeah.
But we love them for it.
And let's stop putting cats in cupboards and apparently closing the door. I don't understand why that's still a thing.
Because it's funny, especially if you opened up the door.
It's not funny. God. And then it jumps out at people. Well, yeah, you know who should be scared? You should be, because I'm calling animal services. You son of a creepy bitch. So weird.
After he gets the cat off the lawn.
I hope there's cat poop in your coffee cup. Because God knows how long that cat's been there.
Right, it's just been waiting. Just waiting. No wonder he jumped at you. You're a dick. All right. Well, anything you want to mention, recent film or TV recommendations, Troy, that you've seen recently you want to mention?
Honestly, I have not seen anything because I've been playing Horizon Zero Dawn or Horizon Forbidden West, the sequel to that game, which I think, Hollywood should start actually making that into a television series, because I think the story for Horizon is fascinating. From what I've seen of the second game so far, it just picks up right after the first game. It's just brilliant storytelling. I really hope that they turn it into something in the future.
Oh, they will. And they'll ruin it.
They better not.
They will.
It's like sacred right now. Sacred.
Jesus.
They're actually making one of the machines in the game into a Lego creation. Comes out May 1st. I can't wait to buy it.
All right. Brian, what about you? Anything recently you've watched?
I'll just kind of go back to 1883. It's a solid Western on its own. It's Sam Elliott is full on Sam Elliott with his mustache and everything. So that feels good.
It's a contained story, right? It actually has an ending. The end is the ending. I mean,
yeah.
It's like a limited
The
series.
end is the end. Yeah.
Yeah, because now there's 1993 or something coming
1932
next?
is next. 1932.
32 or something like
32.
that. Yeah. So
Great. Depression. That's what everybody wants.
there's some interesting cameos that pop up in this series that you at this point you've probably heard, but if you're not aware, surprise.
I've heard of one in particular, and it's a show about bosom buddies, so I get it.
Yeah, 1883 is solid Western.
All right. Well, I haven't been watching anything because I'm getting ready for the Batman. I'm stoked.
Well, and you've been busy, right? You're traveling and you got the festival that you're putting on.
I was working and the Beloit International Film Festival is going on, so I was getting ready for that, and got South by Southwest Film Festival coming up, and that's March 10th. Yeah, so there's a lot. There's a lot going on. But that's going to do it for this show. Share your thoughts on this episode or anything else in our Facebook group. We're on Twitter at @ByPopcorn. Our site is thehollywoodoutsiders.com. Email us feedback at thehollywoodoutsiders.com. Rate us and subscribe on your preferred podcast app. You can always find John's artwork on Insta and Twitter at rjohndraws, Amanda on Veronica's Marshmallows, and Smirkin at Sink Into This. Troy on the Blacklist Exposed and Beyond Westworld, and at Troy Heinritz, and me on the Blacklist Exposed and Presenting Hitchcock, and at Aaron Smirks. Brian, we have an email address, cruise at thehollywoodoutsiders.com if anyone is interested. But real quick, tell them where the cruise is going. The Ho Cruise 2023.
Yeah, Ho Cruise 2023, June 11th through the 18th of next year. It is on Royal Caribbean's newest ship and the largest cruise ship in the world at this point, the Wonder of the Seas. It is absolutely amazing. It's a sister ship to the one that we went on a few years ago. So if you've seen pictures of the Harmony of the Seas, it's kind of sort of just like that, but a little bit better. Slight differences. We're going to St. Martin, St. Thomas, Royal Caribbean's private island called Perfect Day at Coco Cay, which has some amazing water slides, some beautiful beaches, great bars. Yay.
Yay.
He talks about it like he remembers that day.
Yeah, we were there. We were there with you when you saw it, and I don't know how you could possibly remember anything that you saw, but good for you.
Well, I remember what people tell me. Because that's
there you go. I remember what people tell me.
How it went. All I know is for the next 3 or 4 days after that, I'm meeting people, and even our friend Tyler texted me from Mexico saying, "Hey, I met some strange people on this bus who mentioned you." So, apparently I made quite the impression on a number of people.
You had a great time.
Yeah, oh yeah, we had a blast. And this one is even bigger. We've got more people going this time. There's honestly, the majority of the rooms are gone at this point. We're down to just a handful of rooms. And if you are interested in going, do not wait. Do not wait. Do not wait. Get in touch with me just through the group.
Cruise@thehollywoodoutsiders.com is the easiest one. You email us and we'll get it to Brian, so he'll get in touch with you that way.
There you go.
Yep, definitely check it out. It's going to be a good time, and keep in mind, just because it's a whole cruise doesn't mean you're hanging out with us the whole time. It's only like we'll have a couple meetups as we go. They'll always be on cruise days. There won't be anything we'll report, but
exactly, it's your vacation.
Yeah, you do what you want. You show up or don't show up.
Exactly, you interact or don't interact as much as you want to.
All right, well, that's going to do it for this episode. And remember, the next time you head to a theater, probably to see The Batman, or stream comfortably from your couch watching old Batman movies, buy popcorn. And then come back for The Batman. Oh, that really didn't come out very well. This is why they won't hire me for Batman. God damn it.
Yeah, I think you're stuck with Stallone impersonations.
Hey, yo, Brian, what are you talking about?